Fournette. I said this. It's not what you get your wife. It's not what you get your wife for your anniversary, but you better remember the anniversary. It's not that they have to go get Tom Brady everything, but I think the commitment of Shady McCoy, the commitment of Leonard Fournette. Peter, I think it means something. It's like, listen, Tom, they're doing this in New Orleans with Drew Brees. Tom, we're all in. We're about you. I think Fournette actually is a real piece. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that was a good get for them. I still think at the end of the day, it'll be running back by committee there, but I think Ronald Jones gets the most touches, rushing and receiving in that backfield. Look, Pro Football Focus had a great stat last week about Tom Brady in talking about why they believe he'll have a kind of a resurgent season. Pro Football Focus has been doing numbers on every NFL player for the last 14 years, since 2006. And collectively, the receiving core of the New England Patriots in 2019 was the worst as a team that they've ever graded on any team in 14 years.
Wow.
So you look at that, and you just say, hey, because everybody was ready to throw Brady in the dumpster. Now let's see when this year Tom Brady has the best weapons collectively he's had in his career, or at least since 2007, with Randy Moss.
Yeah.
But I think collectively, altogether, it's going to be better than 2007. And so we'll see what Brady has left.
So I'm looking at your stuff here, Peter. I don't want to give too much away before we get to your NFL predictions, but you and I have a lot of agreements. You like Miami more than I do. Explain yourself, Mr. King. Why do you like Miami? I still think they're a rebuild.
I think that when you look at the Miami Dolphins and you look at what happened last year, they found themselves in the second half of the season. They had a better record after Halloween than the New England Patriots did. And I think they've made all the right moves this offseason. I love the acquisition of Kyle Van Noy. I think he's going to be a superb player in that defense. And look, I think they're going to be good enough on offense, Colin. I don't know when Tua's going to play. I assume it'll be at some point this year, but I think they were good enough on offense last year. And, to get Byron Jones, who's the best cornerback in free agency in the last 3 or 4 years, they've really, really helped themselves, in my opinion. If you talk about Van Noy and Byron Jones, those two guys, and then obviously you draft Tua, and I just think they're an improved team. And again, one of the reasons I made this pick, I picked Buffalo to make the playoffs, but I'm unconvinced about Josh Allen.
Yeah, fair.
I just don't know who he is.
Yeah.
I don't know who he is, and so I need to see him play better. It's one of the reasons I picked Seattle over San Francisco, because the postseason kind of shook my confidence in Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah.
And, I could be wrong. The 49ers could win 14 games, and Garoppolo could play as well as he did for most of the regular season. But as for now, I'm just a little bit shaky about Garoppolo.
Okay, so let's go look at Peter's AFC predictions again. For our radio audience, I'll read those. Our AFC predictions for Peter King NFL season. Ravens, Chiefs, Titans, Dolphins win the division. Not outrageous, little high on the Dolphins for me. Your wild cards are the Colts, Bills, and the Raiders. So I don't know if the Raiders can stop anybody, and they're moving to a new city, which historically has been tough. Why do you like the Raiders so much?
I just think the last 2 years, Mike Mayock has basically said in the draft, he said, look, I love big-time players from big-time programs. And what Mike Mayock is doing, I don't know, you got to be a person of a certain age, really of a certain age, to remember the college all-star game.
Yeah.
Okay, every year, the first exhibition game used to be the world champions against a team of college all-stars.
Yeah.
And to me, Mike Mayock has created, the SEC and, and Clemson and the Big Ten. He's picked the best players out of the biggest programs. And he's done that for 2 years in a row. And I think he is gambling that the chemistry experiment they do is going to pay off, and also gambling that a base basically of Hunter Renfrow and Henry Ruggs is going to be a nucleus for some great offensive weaponry.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I like the Raiders. I feel the same way about Carr that everybody else does. He's kind of in prove-it mode to me, but I like the Raiders.
Yeah. Let's go to the NFC, where Peter's got Dallas, New Orleans, Seattle, and Minnesota winning a division. San Francisco, Tampa, and Detroit as wild card teams. So you have I look at Dallas as a 8-8, 9-7 club. You're high on Dallas. Why? I don't like their defense. I don't like the back end of their defense at all, Peter.
I don't like the back end of their defense very much either, but here's the way I look at it. I think Dallas and Philadelphia have a big advantage, and Philadelphia is the one team I didn't have making the playoffs that really bothered me to not have them in there. But, Colin, you can't just pick the same teams because
never works that way.
You just can't.
Yeah.
You got to throw in a Detroit every now and then, and a Raiders. But the thing about Dallas, I think they're going to score a heck of a lot of points. I think Dak is going to be an MVP consideration. And you're absolutely right. I don't trust their secondary either. But I do think that being in the same division with Washington and the Giants, basically gives you almost a New England kind of advantage. Traditionally when you're going for home field. And so it was, I love the Saints, too. I think the Saints are a better team than the Cowboys, almost without question. But, the Saints, they've got a really, really tough schedule. And to me, I think you need to look at the schedule when you look at how a team is gonna end up that season.
So your Super Bowl prediction, I haven't really given mine yet. Maybe I have, I forgot. Tampa Bay over the Ravens. I'm all in on the Ravens. It's so funny about this because I've told my team, my staff, for months. I'm like, I know I'm going to chicken out. I won't choose Tampa, but something tells me it just is too magical. I look at the schedule and I'm like, God, if they can just play good defense in September until they get hot offensively, let's just say you're right. And the Bucks beat the Ravens. Your column on Monday, I mean, in the pantheon of sports history, it almost feels LeBron, Cleveland. It's this: a 43-year-old guy wins a Super Bowl, Peter. It'll be one of the craziest things of our lives.
It won't even be close to LeBron, because LeBron was still nearly in his prime, in his absolute prime, when he last won a championship. And he did not go to an absolute basement team at, very late in his career after anybody in his sport had ever played great football. The Bucks haven't made the playoffs in 13 years. So it's